Hi, everybody. Today we have with me Melissa Moore from the Retail Tea Break and myself, Kiran Gange, a founder and CEO of RapidPricer and also the host of Retail Price Talk. So we have this two-way podcast conversation going on. It'll be double the fun, I promise you. Melissa is Melissa, you want to introduce yourself because you have a very, very dynamic profile. What I remember about Melissa is she's very, very pleasant to talk to, and it feels like a very old friend of mine. And she has so much knowledge and experience talking to all the retailers, doing all the education, bringing the brands together. But Melissa, please introduce yourself and your podcast to our audience.
Oh, you're so kind, Kiran. I'm delighted to talk to you on your podcast because obviously you've been an incredible guest on the Retail Tea Break podcast, the award-winning Retail Tea Break podcast now, and you certainly played your part in that. We had an amazing conversation about 18 months ago. So I'm delighted to be on yours. But yeah, as you say, I've been in the industry about 26, 27 years now. Started on the shop floor like so many people do. I had that job while I was at college at the weekends and loved it. And I went on, I did my undergrad, I did my master's, and retail kept calling me back. And I think it's this connection with people. I love delivering really good service, but I also love kind of empowering those around me. And that's really what I do now. So yes, I've got the Retail Tea Break podcast, which I love, but I suppose day to day, then my work is in retail education. I work at undergrad level and the level just under that, and really inspiring and empowering and teaching our future retail leaders, which is it's so incredible for me, and I'm so proud of that work. And then the other side of what I do, as you say, is training our team. So I'll go into independent retailers. There could be a team of 4 or 6, all the way up to global retailers who have huge teams and delivering what they need. So we design the content together, then I'll go out and deliver it. And it really depends on the messaging they're looking for. It could be retail standards, it could be sales, it could be driving that exceptional customer experience in store. But then all of this kind of feeds back. And I almost think it's like a 360 because I could be in a training session or I could be in a class and someone will ask a question and it could be something outside my remit of what I understand in retail. But now through the podcast, I have this amazing network of people just like you that I can call on and go, I've had a question. I'm not sure of the answer. And it's lovely then to be able to go back with the real answer from people credible like yourself who know this industry so well. That I love it. So that networking opportunity of everything I do is incredible. But yeah, I'm really blessed. I love this industry. As you know, I'm incredibly passionate about it and I love to talk about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you again. And then always these conversations become very interesting. Given your background, you have actually worked the floor, you have spoken to so many people, and you have all of this knowledge you can put together. Last time, Melissa and I, off record, we were having a conversation, and we talked about how AI was, coming into play in retail, and how it is actually in some cases not doing such a good job. Some places it's doing a phenomenal job, and then what would be the possibilities possible if we can combine what a customer really wants to what the AI can do. So we thought, hey, this is a very interesting topic. Why don't we do a podcast about it? And then we'll try to bring together what I've seen in the industry as a consumer, what I see, and what can come about. So coming up to this topic, we've given the name for this podcast as Hard with Hardware, how AI can spark retail connections. So, Melissa, what do you think would be a good challenge which we can address with AI given this context?
I think initially, do you know what? Had you asked me this question a couple of months ago, Kieran, I would have said, I'm sat on the fence. Some days I love AI for retail, other days I wish it would go away. And I think that sums it up in a nutshell that some retailers are really embracing it. They're using it in a way that not just suits them, but suits their customers. And others are just throwing it out there because they feel they have to. They're spending loads of money on it, but it's not meeting the need of the customer and it's definitely not meeting the need of the staff and the teams in store. So there are days that I love it and days that I absolutely hate it. But for me, the best use case I've seen is really when a team have come together, so C-suite have come together and they've said, look, where are the places in our business where we can really improve our productivity? And that's what I've seen on the shop floor more than anything is it's improving the productivity of the teams in the store. So bearing in mind the little side story of it's becoming really hard to recruit and retain people in retail right now. So teams are not as big as they used to be at all because we can't get the people. So therefore, if the people that we have in store are more productive with AI, they can then actually be more productive with the real life customer that they need to talk to and they need to serve and that they need to have this emotional connection with. So that's the best thing for me. I think doing the little things in store, looking at shelf stock, looking at stock counts, even the kind of the logistics of predictive ordering with AI. These are the things, if we can take them away from our frontline staff, they can meet the needs of the customer better. And you know what? It makes you more money. So like, I'm like, this is win-win for everyone. But so I think if we start with the little things, we look at productivity, and again, that could be said for HR, that could be said for marketing. If we do all these small things that really make a difference, and it could be 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, I think this builds to allow us all to have better human conversations, which is surely what retail's about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I like to go back to stores where people remember my name, right? I go to a Starbucks sometimes, and all of them know exactly what I want, and all of the neighboring stores and restaurants, I know all of the people there, and I kind of it becomes like a sense of community, and I don't mind what I'm paying to that business anymore, and they're not looking to make profit out of me either. You kind of get this feeling, and that's only possible when all of the things like the mundane activities which they do on an everyday basis is taken care of automatically, right, Melissa? Like you're saying, I use this example of if two people can fly an airplane, why do you need 50 employees in a store? Because all of the things that can be automated is automated. They're only reacting to what needs attention from a human. So I completely get your point here. The human to human interaction, if it can be made possible with more time, that's fantastic. Now let's take it one level higher, right? Have you seen examples, or can you suggest some ways in how AI can help these interactions become better even?
I think there's a load of interesting things. You could look at the different nuances in store. And I suppose for me, it is about in store because that's where I train the people. You've got clienteling apps that kind of look at customers' parts purchases. And I've seen those used in store because, again, Kieran's coming into store and I know who that is. And I know that he's already connected to me. I can see what you've already bought. If I don't know your Starbucks order, I know what it is via this app. And I love that because not only do I know your preference, but I also then know the complementary things that I can start to add on. So this to me goes back to this idea of hyper personalization. Salesforce spoke about this years ago. The fact that Kieran doesn't just like coffee, he likes a really specific coffee. And this is what we should be talking to Kieran about. So the clienteling apps, I think, are lovely. And again, they're starting to layer on loads of AI. There's voice assistants as well that can really start to kind of hone in and help and support with quick access to things like product knowledge. And I do an awful lot of training about building confidence with teams when it comes to selling to customers. But that comes down to product knowledge. And there is absolutely no way most of us can know everything about everything in a store. Therefore, things like, quick AI voice assistants that can almost tell me about this pair of jeans or this incredible vase or where this thing was made of, that's going to help me build an emotional connection with the customer. I'm being honest, I'm being open, but I'm also solving their problem because the way I'm describing things is going to be in a way that they listen. So again, I'm helping sales. So for me, any of these little AI things, and some of them are quite small in many respects, but it starts to build things out. And even lately, I've been talking to the team at RevLifter who look at promotions. So we're coming outside of the store onto our websites now. They layer on AI to promotions so that actually if you drop off halfway through, maybe you've picked an item, you popped it in a basket and you've walked away, or you're just kind of dwelling on an item, I can start to see different offers now to try and entice you back. Because at the end of the day, the retailer wants you to buy, but we want you to buy the right thing at the right time for you. That'll obviously in turn drive loyalty and keep you coming back. So there's so many different ways right now that AI, and again, I think small little nuggets of AI in different parts of the business, that's the big thing for me. That's how we personalize service
Yeah.
that you feel this retailer is purely kind of serving you at a time and a place that you need and that you get everything you want out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine the job will be so much more satisfying also for the store employees if they're actually having a meaningful conversation with somebody and they're giving, say, for example, if somebody says that, hey, I have allergy to pine nuts, and can you give me something from this new shelf? And then they could be wearing like, one of those glasses which can give you instant recognition of products, and you're not doing anything which is like a privacy related now because you're only dealing with your products, Melissa. But like you're saying, In that use case, I don't know if somebody's already doing it. If not, we should do another startup or type. But wear your glasses and then take a look at your shelf, and you will get highlights on avoid these products. But these are good for you, right? Immediately, you are giving so much knowledge which is available on the cloud right in the hands of your customer, and they just became your best friend right there because they like
I
experience.
I love that idea because, again, we're empowering the customer, we're empowering the colleagues in store. But if I feel like I'm coming into your store and I'm getting a wholly personalized service because you've layered on these things, I'm definitely coming back. And surely that's the most important thing nowadays.
Right.
Loyalty has gone out the window since COVID. None of us are loyal. None of us are loyal to brands. Everyone's saying this at the moment. I've just read a great report from CI&T, and that's what their research is saying right now across the globe, is that loyalty is dead. So if we can do these small things to make that customer feel empowered and inspired and educated, especially when it comes to things like allergies, then this is the way forward. This is how you win loyalty and you drive that long-term customer success.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things which I kind of have worked across, like you, Melissa, in Latin America, in Asia, in the US and Europe, there is certain restrictions on the usage of data, right? But for a moment, let's just assume people are getting friendly with it, and you're not misusing the data. You're using the data in the right way. If you can actually identify a customer, his mood, his preferences, his expressions, is he irritated? Is he feeling like he doesn't have enough money to buy a product? If all of that can be recognized in real time and passed on to the store employee, can you imagine what would be possible with that?
It would be amazing. Now, I have to caveat and say I live in Europe. GDPR is massive here, which obviously rules our data. But I think if these things are managed in the right way, I think it would be incredible because, again, it's going to drive that personalization, which for me is definitely the way forward for retail, because there's nothing out there now I can't buy, whether I'm at home in my slippers on my sofa or I'm walking into a store in New York or London or wherever. A lot of this product and service is the same. Like, you can buy the same stuff. Amazon right now, next day, whatever it might be. So I think things like this, where you're really kind of taking what you know, you're reading the data, and this is probably the bigger talking point, Kieran. You're
Right.
taking the data and reading it in the correct way. If I can then service that customer even more on a human level, again, it's win-win, surely. But I do think the crux there is that customer going to be happy about it? But again, if we do it in a safe way, if we are doing it for the right reason and that data has been used properly, why not?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, this is why I love these podcasts and these technology conversations, right? So just to imagine what is possible. Let's say we went to a coffee shop, or let's say we went to buy a piece of jewelry, right? So we purchased this jewelry against a red dress, and then you were wondering what it would look like against an office attire, say for example. If that person who interacted with you could send you a message, again it could be all AI driven, saying that, hey, I wanted to see how it actually looked when you took it to the office the next day. That would really, I don't care who is using my data at that point of time, because all of a sudden my human intuition to connect with people is out there. But it's a tough call, isn't it, just to.
But actually on that, that's the right use case, because again, you're doing it for the right reason. The customer is excited, just like you were there. If I'm buying something, I want to know what it's like for my life. And even on a simple level, if you're buying a mug, I've got a cup of tea. You know what I'm like for a cup of tea? I have a cup right in front of me. It's pink. And if I was in a store looking at this, I would go, what does that feel like if I'm sitting at my desk? What's that like if I'm sitting on my sofa? So it is things like that that we can evoke that emotion using AI, using this incredible technology, whether it's with outfits, whether it's with kitchens. So, like, we know IKEA, for instance, do allow you kind of put together your little units and then pop it into your current space, whether it's a new kitchen, a new wardrobe. Like, that's exciting. That's what drives a purchase decision, is that kind of funny feeling in your tummy. It's that excitement of, this is what I could have. So I definitely think you're right. Use cases like this, absolutely 100%. I think it's the right reason to do it. But I also think it's just so exciting for the customer that again, it's win-win, and it's going to make you money at the end of the day, because set that kind of aspiration for the customer that there's no way they're going to walk away.
Absolutely. Lots of new ingredients are coming into the kitchen now, Melissa, right? So we had in-store cameras now, which can recognize the behavior of people. We've always had like the point of sale data kind of system, but now we have these. I was just trying these glasses on, where nobody else can hear what I'm hearing because it is going through the bones of my skull or something. Yeah, and then I can see only things which are visible to me, right? So a device like that, if a store says that, hey, we use this device to make your services better, or come on over if you like it, otherwise you want us to take it off, let us know. That can really change the game if that becomes part of the system. So not only is it going to free up, it's going to help you, the customer. Say for example, a system like this, Melissa, could be used to train. You do a lot of training to train store employees. Look, when you were leading through this discussion, this customer became uncomfortable when you presented with too many options. Did you realize that? You know what I mean? The possibilities are endless and fascinating, isn't it?
And I love this because obviously an awful lot of retail research and insight companies would use this with very small kind of groups of people to look at insights, to look at behavior in our stores and in our showrooms and things. But actually, as you said, to bring that to our colleagues in store, I think gives them a better and a quicker understanding of the customers that they're meeting. Because again, we know all retailers have different persona groups, different people like to shop in different ways. They have different habits, they're buying for different reasons. But I think using technology like that could be so exciting because, again, if you have that lived experience, well, now I understand that if someone like Kieran's coming in, he's only going to want to look at these premium things that are over here. Don't annoy him, as you said, with too many complicated ideas over there. This is what he's looking for. So, therefore, this is the route you need to take. So, I think it's a brilliant idea to really live out and play with different scenarios. And again, if I'm empowered as an employee, I have confidence, and therefore that will spread to the customer.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then this is what it should be. AI shouldn't be about replacing and taking away so many jobs. And then again, I see this again and again, right? So when we try to sell a solution, how many employees less is it going to take? The conversation should shift to, how are my employees going to become that much more productive to give me that much more value to my customers with what they already have? And that'll make a fantastic world, isn't it?
Completely. And I think this is the thing. AI is absolutely not taking retail jobs. I think what it means is that the colleagues that we have working, especially on our shop floors, they have longer to time having deeper, more meaningful conversations with our customer. And again, that ties into this emotional connection loop. It drives loyalty and hopefully it will keep people coming back. So just like you going into that Starbucks because everyone knows your name, you feel special. And I think the more special that we can make our customers feel, the more likely they are to come back to you, not the competition, and certainly not to pop off to various different marketplaces online and buy from them instead.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just say a conversation. My brain is just like going in all directions with this concept of AI from this conversation. Pardon me here, but let's say, Melissa, you walked in and I'm wearing my AI glasses with audio capabilities, right? And I find out, Melissa, okay, you are from, let's say you from Portugal and you speak Portuguese, which I know. You go to Goa. But if I can say one sentence in Portuguese, which popped up on my AI screen right there, which says, I hope you like your coffee in Portuguese, let's say, right? How much more would Melissa connect with that store right then and there? Just one sentence generated in AI can make such a huge difference, doesn't it? And it doesn't even require me to use any personal information right there.
Do you know what the nice thing about that is? It multiplies out then because then Melissa goes and tells everyone, oh my goodness, I went into that store and they said this to me. So it becomes a talking point and therefore almost becomes that referral, the word of mouth. Everyone knows people buy from people. So if I've started to kind of big you up then as a retailer for this fun little thing you did when I walked in, you're bound to build a better connection. You start layering that then with social media nowadays, and boom, you've exploded. So I think it's a lovely way to kind of start layering in that really good store experience with marketing, with social media nowadays. And again, this is the strategy that a lot of retailers need to make a noise nowadays. So I love that idea. I'm really hoping you patent that because we should make some money out of it.
Well, all our listeners are welcome to try it out. Just send us the royalty checks when it's ready. But like it is, the whole world is becoming open for us to experiment and make it better. And we have to be very careful, like we were discussing earlier, Melissa, that it's easy to say that, hey, we're gonna use AI to get rid of 80% of our employees and let the machines take over, or you can use the AI to make both your employees, customers better, which make your organization better as an overall, right? So we'll always be here, Melissa, to help our listeners, if we can give them more ideas, and maybe with our connections to point them in the right direction. If you want to write an algorithm, if you want to meet the right retailer, our connections can certainly help them. Maybe you should also provide some information on how to get in touch with you, Melissa, if our listeners are.
Absolutely. Oh, fascinating. And again, I'm loving these AI conversations. So if people out there know a lot more about this, are building things, I'm fascinated. On a side note, Kieran, I was at NRF in New York in January, and that's where I learned so much about the future of AI for this industry. So like you, I'm fascinated. I'm not a tech person, as everybody knows. So I love to hear from people that are building new things, that are trying new things, especially if they help our colleagues in store and they drive that customer experience. But yeah, you can find me. Obviously, the Retail Tea Break podcast is available on all those famous podcast platforms. We're over on YouTube as well under the Retail Tea Break. And obviously LinkedIn. Most of you are on LinkedIn, so you can find me, Melissa Moore, on LinkedIn, and go and follow the Retail Tea Break podcast page on LinkedIn as well. But I'd be delighted to connect with people listening. I'm always delighted to kind of grow and build my network and to hear what other people are doing in this industry as well.
Excellent. Thank you. I will also put all of the links to connect with you wherever we post this podcast. And our also retail price talk is available on YouTube or Spotify. And I would be happy if you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll find me with Kiran Gange. And then, like Melissa, I love coaching entrepreneurial ventures and teaching young students, and also working with large companies. And we work for free, but sometimes we work in exchange for wine or beer, but that also works.
Or tea if it's me. Really good chai and really good tea as well. I'm more than happy to do that.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much all for joining us and listening to us. Look forward to connecting you with you all soon. Thanks, Melissa, for your time.
Thanks, Karen.